Hi guys. Snow a little. It's snowing a little bit today, but it's nothing that unmanageable. Compared to what it's been the last few times. This is nothing. It's barely noticeable, to be honest. I ran into a family of deer. On my travels over here. That was a nice sight to behold. But anyway, have you ever noticed how we spend majority of our time in our lives running away from ourselves and refusing to choose ourselves over everything else in our lives? And what do I mean by that? Sometimes we need to take a good look in the mirror and ask ourselves the tough questions, the things that will make us feel uncomfortable. For example, are you happy with the current state of your life right now? And if the answer to that is no, which is probably going to be the answer to a lot of people, then what are you willing to do to change that? Because the thing is, nobody else is going to do that for you. You see, we often forget that we are our best friends. Yes, you heard that right. I'm going to repeat that. You are your best friend, whether you know it or not, because who's always been there the whole time of your life, your whole journey, all the way, through the issues, to the good, to the bad, to the in between, all that comes and goes. You've always been there for yourself. May not have acknowledged that, but regardless of acknowledging it or not, you've always been there, right? And we usually spend so much time running away from ourselves because we develop this character, this persona, this actor, so to speak, that is really not us. It's an amalgamation of ideas, way of thinking, how to perceive ourselves, how to behave among others, other fellow humans. And the way that we usually do this is we do so many things to make us feel like we matter, like we belong, like we want to be seen, we want to be acknowledged, we want to be. Um, this is a big one. People want to be loved, right? I've seen so many videos out there of people, you know, having mental breakdowns. It's usually females, though. That's not to say that there aren't guys doing that too. I'm sure there are. I just never seen it because that stuff never came across my YouTube stuff. But who knows? I'm sure there are guys out there that are like that too. And what people fail to understand and realize is that, the reason why people don't find these things is because of the amount of neglect that they apply to themselves. Some people literally hate themselves. They're never going to flat out come out and say that they hate themselves. But there are people out there that truly hate themselves. And this is why they can't find these things that they may be longing for and then they want it. You know, they desperately, people begin to get older and then they realize, oh, now I got to do something. I got to find a partner. I got to have kids and all these things, right? And that doesn't happen to everybody, especially in this day and age with how the culture is and how everything changed and uh, things have shifted and all that. But there's still a good portion of people that as they get older, reality hits them hard, and then they begin to try to solve the problem without applying the proper reasoning and understanding that these things, they don't happen just because you want them to happen. There are so many people out there that go their whole lives without healing their own wounds when it comes down to just about everything. And what makes you think that as long as you refuse to heal those wounds and those parts of you that may make you unpleasant to others, especially when it comes down to, relationships, so to speak. And yeah, it is cliche to say that we we attract what we are into our lives, but that's true. It's just like saying you are what you eat, right? If you don't care about your health and you're always eating processed foods and junk food and all this garbage that's out there today, because very few people today eat properly, get the right type of nutrition, eat the right stuff, cook their own homemade meals. Because the easy way out for so many people is always the way that people choose. Is always the path that most people choose, is the easy way out. But they don't understand the cost of that easy way out, especially on our younger years. We don't see these things until we get older. This is why I'm talking about these things here, guys. I'm telling you. You may not realize it yet, especially if you're young, but you're going to figure this out. You won't need me or anybody else on this platform here to tell you these things. There will come a day and time in your life where you're going to see all of these things that I'm talking about here. And what I mean is, we run away from ourselves. We refuse to face reality so many times, face ourselves. It's things like, stop hoping for what that person that you liked, whatever, to get in touch with you and all this stuff, especially if they have the means to do so. If they haven't done that by now, it's because they don't want to. People suffer from delusions of all kinds because of this lack of whatever it is that we lack. It'll really depend on who you are as a person, how you were raised, what kind of parents you had, what kind of friends you had. All of these things affect all of it. And we never choose ourselves. That's what the problem is. We never figure out and realize that we are our best friends. We are the only ones in this life that have our best interests in mind. It is up to you to take care of yourself. That is your job. That should be your priority number one, always, at all times, no matter what. If you have to begin accommodating yourself for anybody else in your life, for whatever reason, there is an issue, there is a problem, because you shouldn't have to do that. People who truly love you will accept you for who you are. That's a fact. That is an undisputable fact. Doesn't matter what you think. The minute people begin to, have all these like expectations and requirements, checklists, and all of these things. That's the minute you turn around and you go your own way. And it should be this way with everyone, men and women. I talked about this many, many times. Love, like real love. There's no judgment. There is none of this stuff. None of these misconceptions and ideas that are social constructs. It just is. It just accepts through the good and the bad. So we have to choose ourselves, and we have to understand and realize that we are our best friends always throughout our whole lives. Remember the tough times, remember the rough times, remember all the rough patches that you had to go through in your life. Whatever they were, you were the one who had to pick yourself back up, right? And snap out of it and shake it up and be like, you know what? All right. Time to get up and do it again. Time to get up and try it again. Time to accept my mistakes. My bad decisions and move on with my life. And this is what everyone should do. That's the practical way of living a life. Instead, what most people do is what I've talked about many, many times here. It's regret, resent, living in the past, thinking about a future that hasn't happened yet, all of these things. Because that's always ongoing for most people in general. So what I wanted to say is, to come out here and remind people that you are your best friend. Be your best friend if you haven't done that yet. And understand that you should always choose yourself. Because when you do that and you start living your life that way, all of these things that people, crave and spend their whole lives chasing will eventually come true and come into fruition. And if they done, then you have to take a better, deeper look at yourself to realize and figure out why that hasn't happened. And also be okay with it. Not go into desperation and, having mental breakdowns and all these things, because that won't help your case in any way, shape, or form. It's only going to make things harder for you. Why choose suffering when you can choose joy? When you can accept you for who you are, and by doing that, your life is going to change drastically. So stop being that fake persona that everybody likes and just be yourself for once in your life. Try it. It's okay to have different opinions on anything. Everyone is welcome to disagree on things. People have different points of views on so many things, and it's just life. We're all unique individuals here. There's nothing wrong with that. So be your best friend. Choose yourself. And everything is going to get so much better. Naturally. Without pressure. Without major effort. Without any of that stuff. It becomes second nature. Give it a shot. You won't be disappointed. So this is all I wanted to talk about today, my friends. Hope everyone have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day wherever you are. Thank you for stopping by, listening. I truly appreciate that. If you like what you hear, what you see, feel free to hit that like button, share, subscribe. It helps the channel grow and reach more people. The more people it reaches, the better. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll catch you on the next one, okay? Take care, everyone. Be safe. Till next time.